Hello, I'm Johnny Rouge, aka Carolina, and welcome to this two-part video series titled Recreating Van Gogh's Starry Night over the Rhone. Hello, I hope you're all well and staying safe and healthy. Welcome to part 2 of this video series, where I focus on the actual painting process of Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night over the Rhone. For those of you who may not have seen part 1, I challenged myself to recreate this well-known work in order to get myself back into painting and to learn some new styles and techniques. If you would like to see in more depth the research and background that went into preparing for this project, please click the link below to see part 1. I hope you enjoy!
The first part I tackled was the night sky, starting with ivory black at the top and slowly adding lighter hues like indigo, Prussian blue, and even a smidge of cadmium yellow and alizarin crimson to get those near green and purple tints as I went down. As you can see, I used the cross-hatch technique, although it wasn't stroke for stroke exactly how Van Gogh did in the original. As mentioned, my camera isn't currently set up to record continuous time lapses, so you'll see a skip in the recording in just about now, where magically the sky and stars are all done. The next part, I was adding the horizon. As you can see, it's pretty much starting at ivory black just to make the line clear, and then soon afterwards I start adding the actual houses and the town on the horizon as well.
I've been running around these streets, sticking out like a foreigner. I want to know.
After I outline the roofs of the houses, I use colors to try and blend in to make the whole horizon a little bit more seamless.
I've been running around these streets, sticking out like a foreigner. My empty steps mock me.
All in all, this part took a little bit longer than the sky, as just it needed to be blended in quite well, and the colors therefore needed to be adjusted to make sure that that was the case.
Cry before we even start, just to get at how many tears.
The next section of the painting focused on the water, and you'll see over the course of the next several moments that I spend a large amount of time just trying to get the dark black background first. Originally, I thought I would avoid painting in the vertical lines where the light reflections would be. You'll see, however, that I realized partway through that it wouldn't provide enough of a seamless transition between the dark water and the lighter reflections, so I end up just painting the whole water back and then add the reflections on top, mimicking more of the impasto technique that Van Gogh used anyway. This part also required me to take a good amount of time just to steadily and diligently work through adding all the black with a crosshatch technique. Eventually, when I did add the impasto, as you'll see in a second, it's fairly thick, and I just end up using mostly horizontal lines for that, so not necessarily the crosshatch technique. We've skipped again, and it would seem that I got started on the grass in the foreground while trying to still finish some of the water and the reflections. There was a lot of adjusting and perfecting each stroke for the water, as you can see. I remember looking a lot more often at my reference photo, as it wasn't as intuitive for me to use the cadmium yellow, yellow ochres, vermilion hues, and the olive greens to achieve the desired effect, but all in all I would say it was fairly successful. We've finally come to painting the ships, which contrast well with the water because of the reflection hues concentrated around the silhouette of the black, sleek boats. This was delicate work, required a good amount of details, and you'll see the masts that were added really at the end of this whole painting just as a final detail. And there I am adjusting the water again. Now, to talk about the grass, my plan originally was to paint all the grass in one go, again with the intention of creating a continuous and seamless foreground. But I do recall mistakenly mixing in quite a bit of green paint for when I was still adjusting the water, and with the remainder of that paint, I decided I would get a head start on the grass. Now looking back, if ever I was to redo this painting, I would ensure that I can do the grass in one go, because once I started on the second half later, the paint on the first half had already dried too much and required a good amount of touch-ups. Like the water, this part of the painting wasn't intuitive to me in terms of the colors used, but were a great insight into how Van Gogh employed color theory. You'll see how I used several tones of greens, browns, yellows, and even blues to achieve the effect. It is interesting to note how here I am using a much thinner brush. At the very beginning of the painting, you'll see that I used a much thicker brush. So for all these intricate hues being added to create a bit more depth in the painting, the smaller brush is used, and for the splotchier backgrounds, and especially the crosshatch, I found I used the bigger brush more often. Once I finished the grass, the only thing left to paint was the detailed couple in the bottom right-hand corner, which unfortunately was cut off due to my time-lapse issues. But not to worry, I have several photos to show the final product.
So that's the end of part 2 of the video series for this painting challenge. I hope you enjoyed it, and please let me know what you think. If you would like to see part 1, please click the link below. Thank you for joining me. Bye bye.